Hello, it's Linda Emsley from Love Lali here, and I just wanted to share a little bit about my journey into motherhood and beyond. Well, it's still in motherhood, but yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is some of you may know, if you've been following my page for a little while, that I'm contributing a chapter of my life as a mum into a chapter of a book, an unconventional view of motherhood. And I'm sharing this experience with a number of other authors who are also contributing a chapter of their life as a mum into this book. And the purpose behind that is to just show a different view, a different perspective on how motherhood can be. And to some extent, what that experience of motherhood has delivered to us. And so what I wanted to share today was that my journey into motherhood led me on a bit of a discovery of myself, and also a discovery of the environment that I was trying to be a mum in. And while I was in the middle of the turmoil and heat of the moment in that particular part of my life, I couldn't see what was going on. I couldn't understand. All I could see was I was failing. I was being a failure as me, I was being a failure as a mum, I was being a failure as a wife, and I was being a failure in the position that I held at work, where it wasn't a hugely responsible position, but it was, it was responsible enough. I was a manager and I had people, who I was meant to be responsible for. And I let them down. So I was letting everything, every aspect of my life, everything around me, and all I could see was I was a failure. But what I've learnt in looking back on my own journey and in experiencing the journey that I've taken since that part of my life, the journey of becoming a healer and working with other women who find themselves in a similar situation to what I was in then, is there's more at play here. And a lot of the work that I do resides in the flow of the energy of the triple goddess, as she presents herself to us in her aspects of the maiden, the mother, and the wise woman. And if we have a look at the flow of that energy in today's society, particularly in the Western world, we see that there is no flow. There is no flow of this beautiful feminine energy, the divine feminine, the sacred feminine, however you like to coin that phrase. There is no flow. It's been cut up into little pieces, basically commoditized to suit the existing dominant paradigm. So when the sacred feminine is in her flow, when that energy moves as it's meant to, and you can see my hands doing this beautiful spiraling motion, because it is cyclical, it is a spiral, it's a beautiful dance inwards and outwards, this flow of the divine feminine. When this flow happens unfettered, there is so much power, so much juice, and so much bounty to be had, to be shared, to be in existence for all of humanity, not just women. And so a lot of my understanding has developed that because this flow has been choked off, has been chopped up, has been separated, and in fact we only work with the absolute superficial level of these aspects of the maiden, the mother, and the wise woman in the Western society, that actually manifests for a lot of women as chronic illness, as chronic disease, as exceptionally high levels of chronic stress. A lot of the lifestyle stuff, disease stuff that we're seeing in the Western world in particular, is a manifestation of this disconnection, this chopping up, this choking, this holding back and squashing down of the divine feminine. So my journey into motherhood really gave me an experiential understanding of this. I really experienced in my body what it felt like to have this flow totally constricted, to have myself not understand this, and to be following the beliefs and the understandings and the cultural, societal expectations that I had grown up with about what being successful meant, about what being a mother meant, and about how to be everything, how to be a working woman and a fulfilled mother who is successful in every aspect of her life, what that meant. Manifested for me as pain, as illness, as disconnection, and ultimately as coming down to a choice of choosing between continuing this pathway and knowing that I would go insane, or choosing an alternative pathway that actually presented itself to me that was really scary. It was a big step into the unknown. It had a whole layer of other issues for me to deal with, but I know that at least I would keep my sanity. I wasn't sure what would happen with my relationship with my husband, and I was really feeling a high level of guilt and uncertainty about whether this would threaten the welfare of my children if I made a decision to do something that was solely for myself to keep my sanity. Ultimately, I guess because we're having this conversation now, you can see what happened. I made the choice to retain my sanity. I stepped into the unknown. Thankfully for me, my husband got it and supported the decision, and my children are flourishing and thriving. And these days I've got 2 of them have actually left home. They reached their adulthood and they've left home and they've stepped out into their own lives and are making their way through the world. And my 2 youngest children are now in high school, with one of them on the brink of finishing high school and stepping into her life, onto her own path. So I guess what I'm trying to say, and I see a couple of people have joined me, hello and welcome, and I can't see any comments, so no, I can't see if there's questions or anything, but do say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from, and if you've got any questions, I'd love to answer them. But yes, I guess the point of what I'm sharing today is that sometimes the choices we make bring up things in our life that are unexpected. And sometimes those unexpected things are indicators. Hello, Tanya, thanks so much for joining me. It's lovely to have you here. Sometimes those choices that we make bring up the unexpected, and they can be painful, they can show as chronic illness, and they can show as chronic pain. And sometimes these are indications. Hi Sue, nice to meet you. Thank you so much. And you're tuning in from Wattle Flat. I have no idea where that is. If you'd like to tell me, I'd love to know. So as I was saying, the choices can sometimes manifest as pain, illness, stress, and they're indicators that something deeper is actually going on for you, that there is something below the surface trying to get your attention. And the way to do this is to stop and listen. And I know that that's a very hard thing, particularly for working mums. Wollongong, awesome. I haven't been there for many, many years, but that's a lovely place. Are you feeling a bit cold at the moment? Is it cooling down your way? I'm in Darwin and it's just glorious. Our dry season's starting, so it's magic. So as I was saying, the indicators are to stop and listen. And you know, the number of mums that I've said this to in clinic just look at me like I'm crazy. I get it, I've been there. I've been that mum who had her life so programmed to the nth degree that, you know, 5 minutes out partway through the schedule of the day meant that it was an hour at the other end of the day before I could get to bed. I do get it, I understand. But from my own experience and from other mums that I've worked with over time, what is really clear is there are things that are going on for you that are asking you to stop And Sue, you are northwest of Bathurst. Okay, gosh, that's a place I haven't been to for a while either. So I guess you guys are starting to feel a little bit cool, but autumn is lovely, yes. So if you're experiencing an incredible busyness in your life, if you are dealing with chronic pain or recurring migraines, or there's a chronic illness in your life such as fibromyalgia, it could be an autoimmune condition such as lupus or rheumatoid arthritis or any of those kind of conditions, it's an indicator to you that it's time for you to take self-care below the surface. We need to stop being superficial. Look at what's happening to the flow of the divine feminine within your life, within your environment, and within your own self. And just find those moments where you can to really sink into some stillness. And it can be just moments until you get practiced at it. And if that's something that you're looking for, a way to have more stillness in your life so that those messages, those signals, the wisdom that's lying just there under the surface, that's trying to come through to you, if you're trying to find that, let me know. I would love to help you with that. Okay, it's one of the things that I've become very practiced at in my own understanding and my own learning and my own way of being, but it's also something I've become very practiced at in helping other women on their own healing journey cotton into. So, Sue and Tanya, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Linda Emsley, and I've just been sharing a little bit about the bigger picture that my journey into motherhood showed me, and part of the reasoning behind why I'm sharing this chapter of my life in the upcoming book that's being released by the Art of Grace Publishing House, that book about the unconventional look on motherhood. So I will leave you with that and hope to see you on Facebook land again very soon. Thank you.